Greatest. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Today we remember one of America's greatest journalists and authors, Hunter Thompson, shot himself Sunday night at his home in Woody Creek, Colorado. He was 67 years old. He became one of the country's best-known young journalists in the late 60s, early 70s, while working for Rolling Stone, where his drug-induced books, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail, were first serialized. Thompson once said, quote, "I hate to advocate weird chemicals, alcohol, violence, or insanity to anyone, but they've always worked for me." Thompson identified the death of the American dream as his reporter's beat. He called his style of writing gonzo journalism. He said, quote, "Objective journalism is one of the main reasons American politics has been allowed to be so corrupt for so long." This weekend, he reportedly stuck .45 caliber handgun in his mouth, shot himself while his wife listened on the phone, and his son and daughter-in-law were in another room of his house. His lawyer for the past 15 years told the Boston Globe he wanted to be cremated, his ashes blown out of a cannon across his ranch. Today we hear Hunter S. Thompson, in his own words, talking about President Bush, Iraq, and much more. He was interviewed on community radio station KDNK in Roaring Fork Valley in Colorado in January 2003. Former KDNK station manager Mary Suma began by asking Thompson, saying the idea of war is not just wrong, but borders on insanity. A comment of Hunter Thompson's, he responded.
Of course, it depends on which vantage point you look at the war from. If you're, the president of the huge oil company, no, it's not insane at all. It's the war would be quite justified.
How do you feel? I mean, I've read that you were in the streets in the Chicago riots back at that convention. Do you think that we can elicit that sort of passion as it builds? I mean, it really seems to be building out there, the anti-war faction.
Yeah, it does, but look at this. I don't recall, anyway, a massive depression, right, economic collapse, as I tell you, in 1968. I was going to say to you, but no, what we have now is a collapse of the economy and a totally unjustifiable war, irrational, really, except from the point of view of the oil industry.
Did you watch the State of the Union the other evening?
Oh, boy, I did.
What'd you think?
I was horrified. Yeah, it was a nightmare of a thing to go through. You know, he rattled off all these pie-in-the-sky ideas in the beginning, none of which are going to either work or be funded. He knows that. Matter of fact, the New York Times today said that already they see that that his even Republicans are admitting that the Medicare, he's talking about the Medicare plan, the $400 billion plan,
right,
is impossible. Members of both parties expressed doubts about its feasibility today, forcing administration officials to reconsider important elements of the package. God damn. So none of the domestic issues he talked about are feasible. I don't even think he can get the tax cut through, which is insane. Cut taxes in a time when the country is going broke. So over the line, I mean, it's not just the war that's wrong. I can't imagine any justification for just going over to Iraq and bombing the place back to the Stone Age. Like we did before.
Why does it seem a good portion of the country is buying into this?
That is a really, that's a disturbing aspect of it.
Can we believe the polls? I mean, certainly the applause the other evening, they always say that you can sort of gauge the popularity of a president by the applause at the State of the Union. I don't know if that's true or not, but it seems like we're living in two separate countries.
Well, remember that Bush's popularity and the popularity of the support for the war 2 months ago was much higher. But that's these are just daily. These are things that change every day. But I remember writing in I don't know, let's see, it might have been at least 5 years ago. It was I think ABC, some serious poll, several of them, came up with the findings that the American people overall favor giving up some of their freedoms in exchange for more security.
Mm-hmm.
They would rather be secure than free, in other words.
Right.
That really is shocking.
It is shocking. And more so today, maybe.
That's what, that's the answer, I think, for your question. Is why is the public buying into it? Well, another reason is that the fear, that's what I tried to address, or at least rave about in the book. Fear is an unhealthy condition, yeah. Living in fear, and as we clearly have been for 2 years now, it makes the population more obedient, particularly if they're willing to give up their freedom for security. More obedient, more easier to control, and it's it's very much like Nazi Germany.
Mm-hmm.
The old good German syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
We used to hate and talk about it. We used to, ridicule it. The good Germans who just went along with it because that's what the Fuhrer wanted.
You've said the president has destroyed the country, the economy, and the relationship and our relationship with the rest of the world.
Well, I believe that's true, and even countries that allegedly go along or support us, our allies going into for this war, popular opinion in most of those countries, I can't say this for sure, but in England, certainly, the English people as a whole are strongly opposed to the war and to going along with whatever George Bush says. Well, democracy is on its last legs in this country, and freedom, the free world,
mm-hmm.
we're defending freedom, we'll fight to the death for freedom, that's absurd. This country is no more a capital or bastion of freedom now than Nazi Germany was in 1940. This country is a rogue nation in a way, but worse than a rogue nation. We're a war crazy, war dependent, really, nation. And that leads right to the oil industry. It's ridiculous, and particularly in the media, with the media. Notice to not discuss the connection between oil and bombs in Iraq is disgraceful. It's Winston Churchill said, in times of war, the first casualty is always the truth. Truth is the first casualty of any war.
In lieu of fear.
Well, you see, I'm a little bit cranked up and fanatical about it.
That's the age group, isn't it, Hunter, that we want to really...
Well, yeah, this is... if you want to live in a Nazi nation, I wouldn't want to be 20 years old now.
I wouldn't either.
I fear for what's coming, and for the welcoming committee that's going to, of kids that's going to meet it, saying, come on in. No, it's just ignorance and, the media. We're being deprived of the real news. Now, I'm not going to try to say I have the real news, but... just what you said. That's exactly right.
Again, you're going to be at Pepke Park on Saturday afternoon. Do you know what your topic is yet? We know the topic, but do you know what? Can you give us any preview of what's going to be said, or do you just stand up there and let it?
Yeah, I usually just just wing it, free fall. But just like I did today, I had no idea what I was going to say today. Yeah, this is really a disgraceful moment in history, and just thinking about the war and attending peace rallies. So you're going out in the street, voting with your feet, as they say.
Hunter S. Thompson speaking with KDNK's Mary Suma in January of 2003. She then asked him about his book, Kingdom of Fear, Loathsome Secrets of a Star-Crossed Child in the Final Days of the American Century.
It started off, it was supposed to be a memoir. I think it started off as memoirs. No, I just sort of had a very, very quick and active story about how I got to be what I am today. Different key adventures in my life. But mainly it's fun. Yeah, I could use a little more editing, but everything could. So it's a fun read, and it's a very savage one. And it is clearly not anti-Bush, but yeah, anti-war. Yeah, I don't hate Bush personally. I used to know him. I used to do some, drugs here and there with him.
Is that true, Hunter? What about? I didn't know that you were an unofficial advisor to Jimmy Carter.
Well, yeah, weird things happen here and there. And I got to know him early, 2 years before he ran, and he just looked like a pretty good vet to me as a gambler. And I wanted to win. It was important to win at that time.
Evan Dobell, who was, among other things, Carter's Secretary of Protocol, he held a dinner in Hawaii about 2 months ago, and Hunter was the guest of honor, and he stood up to say and thank Hunter because Jimmy Carter would not be president if it wasn't for Hunter Thompson.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Anita and Hunter Thompson, Anita Hunter Thompson's wife, again speaking with Mary Suma of KDNK in January of 2003. Finally, Mary Suma asked Hunter Thompson about his upcoming trip to New York.
What I'm going to New York to do is stir up trouble. I mean, this is, I'm not going to change hats.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, Saturday in the park, Sunday New York City. I went Monday night, Conan O'Brien or something like that. No, I'm just believing this. I think I'm offended and insulted by the sloth of the American people, and that means us. And that means these bastards who just sit around. What?
We're getting there.
Yeah, well, let's keep hitting on this because I doubt that George Bush is going to go away anytime before for 2 years, and the next 2 years anyway. But he should be run out of office. He should resign right now, in my opinion. I could call for his resignation, but I don't think he'd have a groundswell immediately for that. There'll be a lot of people who agree with me.
Down the road?
Well, no, in a year.
Right.
I mean,
Will we be at war in a year, Hunter?
well, I think so, without a doubt. But like I said, we've been at war for 13 years. We've been bombing that country that long, and we cut off everything, all their food, books. They closed, cut off all imports of books over there.
Have you ever been there?
Excuse me?
Have you ever been over there?
I don't think so. Not in any way that I was impressed by. I've probably gone through it or stopped there. No, I don't really know Iraq. I made a point of getting to know it a lot better. And it was a very advanced, progressive country. It had like 90% literacy, health care for the whole entire population. They were doing well. Prosperous, high literacy, many more bookstores per capita in Iraq than there are in this country. Many.
Really?
No more. We bombed their children. We killed, their husbands and wives, and we bombed them, and we saw her, and we're going to do it again. Just random killing like that. Mass killing to force a population to get rid of Saddam so we can move in and take over and control the oil. God damn it, that's not evil. I don't know what would be. Bush, he's really the evil one in here, and they're more than just him. But we're the Nazis in this game, and I don't like it. I'm embarrassed and I'm pissed off. Yeah, and I mean to say something, and I think a lot of people in this country agree with me. A lot more than saying anything. Well, we'll see what happens to me if I get my head cut off next week by it's always unknown or bushy-haired strangers who commit suicide right afterwards. No witnesses. That's a new kind of crime.
Was that the CIA kind of crime?
Oh, absolutely. Well, that'd be anybody's successful criminal's kind of crime. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No witnesses, no records. We can go on and on. I have to be restrained on this subject.
The late Hunter S. Thompson speaking 2 years ago in an interview on community radio station KDNK in the Roaring Fork Valley in Colorado, speaking with then station manager Mary Suma. Hunter S. Thompson died of apparent suicide this weekend, shot himself Sunday night at his home in Woody Creek, Colorado. His latest book, a collection of his essays called Hey Rube, Bloodsport, the Bush Doctrine, and the Downward Spiral of Dumbness. This is Democracy Now!